out of all the real world concept that Pixar takes these movies and turns them into these heartwarming, family oriented films that we all come to know and love, this concept takes the cake because this is about a girl who gets her period, turns into a red panda, ends up having to maintain this beast somehow, some way, in order for her family to perform a ritual to get it out of her. And all while they're doing this, the other women in her family still have this panda inside of them, and they're dealing with stuff as well. So this is definitely one of the most creative concepts I've seen from Pixar in a while. So kudos to them for that. The movie's also called Turning Red. I'm not necessarily going to go into detail about what the red part is, but for women who go through that sort of thing, and guys who have to deal with the girls who go through that sort of thing, we all know what the red part means. So Turning Red, it's a kids movie though, so we're not even gonna go dive into that. Turning Red though. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and this is my review of Turning Red, the brand new Disney Pixar movie that stars Rosalie Chiang, Sandra Oh, James Hong, and was directed by Domi Shi. And basically this plot follows Mei Mei, who is a young girl who is obsessed with being perfect. She wants to make sure, she's on top of all her schoolwork, extracurricular activities, basically a big, big nerd, people that we've definitely run across in school. But kudos to those nerds because, they're probably doing it big nowadays. But anyway, this movie is essentially about a girl who is trying to overcome, like I said in the beginning, guys, this beast that she essentially inherits from her family's generation. And, essentially it's like she's getting her period because her mom gives her, pads and stuff like that in the movie. So no, this is definitely a period story. But essentially, in order to, cover that part up, she turns into this big red panda who's all full of emotions and things like that. And she has to find a way to control it, all while her family's trying to get together this ritual in order for her to cure it. And while she's going through this, essentially this new journey in her life, she's essentially trying to find out who she is through this panda, and who, this secret that's been kept for her for so long. She's essentially trying to find out how it actually fits into her life, and how it actually, makes her who she is, or she can find out who she is. It's a coming of age story, and it's honestly very beautiful. And as much as I'm laughing about the concept of this movie being about somebody getting their period, it's honestly a very beautiful way to tell this story. This is honestly, this is probably the new movie that, parents should show their, 13-year-old girls or whatever age they're hitting puberty, because this is definitely the movie to explain what's going on in your life. This is how this is going to go. Pixar's doing it. Pixar's doing it big. This is definitely a good concept here. So to begin about what I liked about the movie, look, of course I'm going to talk about the animation style. Pixar has been ahead of the game for generations, for years on years on years. Like ever since Toy Story came out, they've been ahead of the game in animation style. And they continue to really impress me about how beautiful they can make a movie look. This is one of the most beautifully made movies I've seen in a very long time, animation wise. This movie is so gorgeous to look at, and the characters really pop off screen. Everything's like coming to life. But essentially this is kind of like, you already know this. Pixar's always done a great job at bringing things to life and making it seem much more real than it should be. The animation in this movie is very beautiful though. It's such a beautifully made movie, and I can't stress that enough. Like, it's just gorgeous to look at. It's like the color schemes, like everything blends in correctly. It really makes a lot more sense when you see the movie, essentially, as far as the color schemes go and everything blending in. But it just looks amazing. It's like, it's essentially like just going through like an acid trip. I'm not saying I've ever done that before, but essentially from what I've heard, it's almost remotely close to going through an acid trip. The colors vibrantly pop off the screen. I mean, it's a beautiful movie to look at, and it's a lot of fun as well, but we're about to get into that in a second. Now look, of course we know about Pixar and, their life lessons and all the movies that they have to have, and this movie honestly has a beautiful life lesson. I'm not necessarily going to go too deep into what it is, but it's essentially about finding out who you are, essentially through these wild experiences that you go through in life. Even if you aren't turning into a big red panda to essentially find out your family's history and everything like that. We all go through this point in our lives where we really have to find out who we are in this world, like our place. And this movie does a beautiful job of showing that, not only through Mei Mei and the main character girls, but it shows through the adults too. Essentially, once Mei Mei's mother and Mei Mei's grandma and all her aunties come into the movie, you honestly get a sense of, all of them had to go through this at one point. It's showing that we all of us as humans at some point got to figure out our place in the world, and whether or not this is right for us, or what is right, what is wrong. And Pixar does a phenomenal job of essentially explaining that life lesson to us. And like I said, you just have a lot of fun throughout the movie. It's a very good time. Kids movies can honestly surprise you in those ways, because I mean, the older you get, you don't necessarily want to lose your attachment to kids movies, because we're always going to have those movies in our hearts that we grew up on. But these newer animated films, I'm not necessarily like hesitant to always check them out, but I always have that, just it's a little bit of hesitancy, because it's like I don't know how this movie's gonna make me feel, or essentially, I'm older now, so how is a kids movie gonna resonate with me? But like I said, this Pixar movie resonates with you in the best of ways. It definitely, holds your heart very. It got some heartstrings as well. It's phenomenal. It has a lot of heart, a lot of emotion, and it's a very beautiful movie just in general. Now, before I talk about what I didn't like about the movie, which really isn't necessarily a criticism on the movie at all, I do have to give a shout out to the movie, to this movie, for bringing back the boy bands. This I think the band's name was Four Town or something like that. They had some really good songs, and we don't really have boy band eras like that, so it was really cool to just see that on screen. I had a thing for boy bands. I was a big NSYNC Backstreet kid when I was younger, so I definitely could relate to that portion of the movie. So I just wanted to shout them out for doing that, because that was cool. That was a good band. They had some good music. They weren't bad. They were not bad at all. They were pretty good. So as far as what I didn't like about the movie, look, like I said, guys, this doesn't really have anything to do with the movie itself. My only criticism is just, I honestly was watching this movie and I'm like, I wish I could watch this in theaters. I'm actually very pissed that this movie came out only on streaming. I don't understand. I mean, I understand that there was some controversy about Pixar not really having faith in people coming out to see the movie, but in all honesty, I really think people would have went to go see this. And honestly, I'm gonna push you guys. I really hope you guys watch this movie, because it's very good. It's honest. I don't understand why they kept this movie in streaming. Like, the Batman literally just made like almost $300 million overseas, or actually maybe worldwide. Honestly, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it was about 300 million. But essentially, that movie made that. I know for a fact that this movie would have at least made 100 million or something like that. Maybe that's not all of the budget for this movie, but like I said, my only criticism is that I just really wish I could have watched this in theaters. I wish I could have brought my brother. I wish I could have brought my family out, because this is a great family film. Like honestly, this is a movie that people need to get back in the theaters. I really hope Pixar at some point does a re-release and allows it to come back out in theaters and allow families to actually go see it if they want to. I mean, essentially, it may be a big hit on Disney Plus already, because I mean, Soul was a big hit. Onward, in my opinion, that's a movie that probably should have stayed. Just strictly stayed on streaming, because I don't think they put their best effort into that movie. I think that's one of the lower tier Pixar movies, and that's why I was kind of hesitant about this, because when they moved it to streaming, I'm like, oh god, are we gonna get another Onward? It's not that I didn't like Onward, but it's definitely not. There's better movies. There's better Pixar movies out there. Like I said, it's good, but it's not this. Like, this movie, I feel like should have been in theaters. It needs to be in theaters, and this is honestly a movie that could get families back into the theaters. I feel like this would have been the one. So that's my only criticism on the movie. Essentially, is just that it didn't come out in theaters, and I'm not gonna blame the movie for that at all. Like I said, it's just a minor criticism of mine. I'm a movie critic, guys. I'm gonna have problems with some stuff, even if it doesn't have to do with the movie, but overall, guys, this movie is phenomenal. And I'm sorry, I'm rambling a lot, so I gotta breathe. I gotta learn to breathe in between talking. But overall, guys, this movie is phenomenal. I had such a good time watching it. It's a very heartwarming movie, like Pixar normally makes. I honestly think I'm gonna let this movie sit with me a little bit, but I know this will honestly compete with either the middle tier or the top tier of Pixar movies at some point for me, because this movie is just awesome. This movie is amazing. It has great characters. Literally, the entire cast, Maymay's family, Maymay's friends, Maymay's honestly the side characters. And there's a great bit where this cop, the security guard of the school is chasing Maymay's mom off campus and stuff like that to keep her away. And it's great. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's very beautifully made movie. It's just Pixar at its honest finest, and I really wish that it would have came out in theaters. And I honestly hope that more people go to see this movie, or essentially, I hope more people will stream this movie, just so Pixar can realize that movies like this need to be in theaters. Like, this is what kids need. Kids need movies like this. And streaming is essentially getting popular, and people don't want to spend their movie prices. I get it, but some movies are just made to be seen in a movie theater. And this is definitely one of those. This is definitely one of those movies, at least for me. At least for me. So for my rating, guys, I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars. Look, like I said, guys, this movie is phenomenal. It's a beautifully made movie. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of heart. It's a lot of energy, and it's just great characters. And it's just honestly, like I said, it's honestly a movie that I really wish could have been out in theaters, but essentially just enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy it on streaming. Go on Disney Plus. If you don't have it, borrow it from a friend. You know how you guys do. Just borrow it from a friend. Go on Disney Plus. Stream this movie because Pixar needs to know that movies like this need to be in theaters to be seen. But I had a wonderful time with this movie, guys, and honestly, I think you will too. Watch it with the family. You can watch it with your girlfriend, by yourself. It's honestly funny. It'll be great for everybody. It's a movie for all ages, honestly. Like I said, this is a movie that'll hit the upper 50-year-olds to the lower 5-year-olds. This is a movie for all of us, like Pixar normally does. Pixar normally finds ways to indulge everybody into the movie, and that's what the best animated films do. They find ways for all age groups to have fun in a movie, not just kids. And this movie does a great job of that. And like I said, guys, it's just phenomenal. It's just a great movie. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below if you've seen Turning Red. What did you think about it? Essentially, are you planning on watching it? What's some of your favorite animated films? Some of your favorite Pixar films? Because Pixar's got a lot of them, a lot of top tier animated films. But just let me know in the comments below, guys. And thank you so much. I appreciate it.